Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to sort of unpack the hidden rules, the unspoken scripts of just, well, everyday life. And you know that feeling, right? You walk into somewhere new, maybe there's a language difference, or just cultural stuff you don't know,
Yeah,
and suddenly ordering food feels like this high-stakes mission.
absolutely. It's incredibly common, but yeah, there's often that little bit of anxiety humming underneath.
So today, that's what we're tackling.
Okay.
We want to give you a real shortcut to feeling comfortable in English-speaking restaurants.
Exactly. We've gone through this really practical guide, the kind with role plays and phrase breakdowns for ordering, etiquette, all that.
Right.
And we're aiming to pull out the key bits, the really useful nuggets, maybe some surprising things so you feel genuinely confident next time.
Think of this as your walkthrough. From the moment you arrive, getting seated, drinks, the main order, handling those little questions that pop up,
Sides, dessert.
all the way to paying the bill. The goal is that by the end, you've got more than just phrases. You've got that feeling of, okay, I can do this. Effortlessly, hopefully.
Let's dive in. So, starting right at the beginning, the arrival.
Okay.
You walk in. The first thing you'll probably hear from the waiter or host is something like, good evening, welcome to Sunny Cafe. And then straight away, how many people are in your party?
Okay. How many in your party? And if it's just me,
Simple. Just one, please. Always add the please.
always the please.
Right.
Got it. But what if, say, I'm meeting someone and they're late, or we didn't book?
Good questions. If you're waiting, you could say something like, it'll be 2, but my friend's running a bit late. Could we possibly wait at the bar?
Okay.
Or if you haven't booked, just be direct but polite. Hi, we don't have a reservation. Do you have a table for 2 available? That lets them check.
Right. And assuming they do,
They'll likely say, right this way.
right this way. I always notice that phrase. It feels, I don't know, quite polite more than just follow me.
It is, isn't it? It implies guiding, service, less of a command. It's a nice touch.
Yeah.
So you follow them, you get seated, then naturally it moves to drinks. Can I get you something to drink? That's the standard opener.
And a simple, yes, I'll have a glass of water, please, does the job.
Perfectly. Clear, polite. Then comes the food order. They'll often check your readiness. And are you ready to order? Or would you like a few more minutes?
Giving you that option.
Exactly. If you need time, just a few more minutes, please, is totally fine. But if you are ready,
Then what? How do I phrase it? I know I want is maybe too direct.
yeah, a little blunt. The really polite standard is, I'd like. So I'm ready. I'd like the grilled chicken with rice, please.
I'd like.
But
Yeah.
you'll also hear people say, I'll have the pasta. Or even, could I get the burger with fries?
So I'll have the could I. Are they basically the same or is there a slight difference?
That's a really sharp question. They're all polite, definitely. I'd like feels maybe a touch more formal, expressing a preference softly.
Okay.
I have is common, sounds like you've decided. It's a bit more settled.
Right?
And could I get is super common too, very conversational. It frames it as a request for the server's action. Knowing these little nuances just helps you sound, more natural.
Yeah, helps you fit the tone.
Exactly. And often, after you order the main, they'll ask about sides. Would you like a side salad or a soup with that?
And you just choose, I'll take the salad. Simple.
Then they'll usually confirm anything else.
And if not,
No, that's all, thank you. That politeness, the please and thank you, it really does make everything smoother, doesn't it?
it absolutely does. It's like the grease in the wheels of the conversation.
It is. And maybe the key takeaway here, beyond just please and thank you, is that preference for indirect requests, I'd like, could I get, instead of demanding something. It's just, expected in service situations, shows respect.
Okay, that totally clicks. So we've covered the basics of getting in and ordering. But eating out isn't always straightforward, is it? There are those other little questions, cultural things maybe.
Definitely. Let's get into some of those. Like you mentioned ordering meat. A very standard question is, how would you like it cooked?
Yes. Rare, medium, well done.
Exactly. You need to be ready with your preference. Medium rare, please, or whatever it is. It's crucial for them to get it right for you.
And what about things like allergies? Or being vegetarian, that can feel awkward to bring up sometimes.
It shouldn't have to be. The key is to mention it before you finalize your order or even as you're looking.
Okay.
So maybe, before I decide, could you tell me if the pasta sauce contains nuts? I have an allergy. Or I'm vegetarian, could you recommend something? Or are there other options available?
Being upfront, basically.
Exactly. It helps them help you. It avoids problems later. And speaking of later, Another standard point is dessert. After the main course, expect to be asked, would you like any dessert? Or, can I interest you in dessert?
It's just part of the script.
Pretty much. So, just knowing these common check points, the meat cooking question, the dessert offer, knowing how to ask about ingredients, it helps you anticipate the flow. It makes the whole interaction feel less like a pop quiz, you know?
Yeah, less intimidating because you know what's likely coming next. That makes sense.
Right. Which leads us nicely into the end of the meal. Dessert, coffee, paying up.
Okay, so the main course arrives. The waiter puts it down and says,
Usually a simple, warm, enjoy your meal, or enjoy,
polite reply.
thank you, or thank you very much is perfect.
Then, sometime during or after you've eaten,
They'll likely swing by and ask, how was everything?
which means,
Basically, did you enjoy the food? Was it okay? It's an invitation for feedback.
so if it was good,
It was delicious, thank you, or everything was great, thanks.
and if, say, something wasn't quite right, like my drink never came.
You can be honest but polite. Actually, the food was lovely, thank you, but I think my coffee was forgotten. Or, it was mostly good, but the chicken was a little dry. Polite. Specific feedback is usually appreciated.
Okay. Okay, so mains are done, feedback given, now dessert time.
If you're interested, yes. They might offer directly or ask, would you like to see the dessert menu? That's the list of sweets, cake, pie, ice cream, that kind of thing.
Right.
So you might look it over and say, okay, I'll take the chocolate cake, please. Maybe add a coffee. And could I get a coffee too, please?
Could I get using those phrases again?
Exactly. Consistent politeness. Once you're completely finished with dessert, coffee, everything.
Time for the bill or the check. Which is it?
Ah, good point. In the U.S., it's almost always check. In the U.K. and many other Commonwealth countries, it's bill.
Okay, check in the U.S., bill in the U.K.
The waiter will bring it over, often saying just, here's your check, or maybe whenever you're ready.
And paying by card.
Just ask, can I pay by card, or do you take credit cards?
And they'll likely say,
Yes, of course, or yes, we accept all major cards, something like that.
what if you're in a group and need to split it?
Also common, you can ask, could we split the check, please?
Yeah.
Or maybe, can we pay separately? Most places are used to this now.
Okay. And then the final goodbyes.
Usually just a mutual thank you, maybe a have a great evening or have a good night.
It really is a whole journey, isn't it? From how many right through to thank you, good night. Seeing it laid out like this, with the key phrases for each stage, it does make it feel much more manageable. You can kind of see the path.
That's exactly it. It's not about rigid memorization, but understanding that predictable flow. Knowing what's likely coming helps you relax into it, anticipate, and respond confidently. It takes the uncertainty out.
So let's quickly recap. We've covered arriving, getting seated, ordering drinks, using polite phrases like, I'd like or could I get.
Right. Tackling main courses, sides, specifics like how you want your meat cooked, handling dietary needs.
Checking on satisfaction, ordering dessert and coffee, and then navigating the check or bill, including paying by card or splitting it.
Pretty much the whole experience.
The idea is that this deep dive gives you those tools, linguistic and, well, cultural, I suppose, to handle that whole restaurant interaction with way more confidence, moving past just repeating phrases to actually understanding the give and take.
And hopefully feeling much more comfortable doing it. Which brings up maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. How does getting comfortable with these kinds of everyday scripts like ordering food do more than just make life easier? How might it actually open doors to, richer cultural experiences, maybe help you feel more connected or like you belong in a new place?
That's interesting. What other situations have these hidden scripts that, if we understood them better, could transform how we navigate them?
Something to think about, definitely.
Food for thought for your next deep dive.